Hi everyone, welcome back to the Morehammer podcast, your fortnightly dose of all things Warhammer and hobby related. You may notice that Luke is missing tonight, he's unavailable, but as usual, I am joined by my good friend, 90% Geek, aka Ben. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. We've been left unsupervised again. Should we start doing 90s kids cartoons this time?
Yeah, I don't think we'll get away with it this time, but we could plan it for a future video when he's not here. And then my name's Simon, aka Hobby Waffle. So it's just me and Ben tonight, but we've got lots to talk about. It's just been the LVO reveals, and there's been a ton of stuff. So we're looking forward to getting into it and looking at all the different things that was going to cost us money and all the things we might try not buying. But before we get started, quick note on if you listen to us on Spotify, thank you very much. You can still find us on there if you want to listen to the podcast when you're driving to work. If you're a regular YouTube viewer, we are on Spotify and it's doing well there. And Discord as well. Come and join us on Discord. Loads of fun chat on there. People are posting the hobby stuff as well. And then just before we do get started with our hobby updates, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Dull Men's Club on Facebook, because a couple of them on there have said they listen to our podcast when they're driving to work and stuff like that. So thank you everyone on there, whoever's listening. It's very much appreciated. Thank you. So before we get into
the you haven't had a new member on the Discord for a little bit.
Yeah, by all means. But before we get started on the glorious LVO stuff, it's time for a couple of quick hobby updates. Ben, I'll go first because I haven't really got a lot to talk about. I have been building movement trays. So for anyone listening on Spotify, that clattering noise, I've been building some MDF movement trays for the old world. I've had the PVA glue out and they're all ready to go. I built a couple of miniatures. I haven't really painted anything, so it's been a bit lackluster for me in the last 2 weeks for hobby updates. But Ben, I know you've been.
I was going to say, did you laser cut those yourself, or did they come as a pre-laser cut thing that you had to think together?
I got them from war bases. I didn't do them. They were very cheap though, and quality is decent. So I got a load of bases. All you have to do is glue the tops on, and it didn't cost an awful lot. So if anyone's after movement trays that are cheap, war bases is a good shout. So what have you been up to, Ben?
Well, you may remember my New Year's resolution was to start painting a Gene Stealer cult army. So, of course, indeed. I have been painting Sisters of Battle and Necromunda models because
I've got a picture of it I can share now. If you just bear with me 1 second.
Yep. So I have actually painted some more models for my Gene Stealer cult, but whilst I've been doing that, I have also decided to branch out into the Malstrain. So this is a Vansar infected by the Malstrain. I've got a gang of these that I put together. And yeah, I had a whole bunch of Vansar bodies kind of kicking around in the box. And I was just kind of musing on the idea of what would they look like with Malstrain heads. So I bought the Malstrain Gene Stealer box to use the heads, popped one on and went, wow, that works really well.
That does. So that could be like the Vansar tech hunters that have gone to Hive Secundus and failed miserably and been infected.
Basically, so what I'm thinking is that they've kind of gone in there and they've gone, there's these Xenos strains that are massively resistant to radiation. Maybe we can find out what it is that makes them resistant to radiation, and that will help us overcome, the problems that our clan are facing. And of course, instead, they've gotten horribly infected and ended up as this kind of mutated brood. So what I've done is I've done them in for those who are listening on Spotify can't see, I've done them in kind of a teal armor with black kind of accents on the shoulder pads and kind of thigh plates and stuff. And then I've got kind of a very kind of grayscale skin tone with some glowing eyes, and just kind of picked up the kind of glow green on the plasma.
Very pallid looking skin. It looks great.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with how they've come out. And I thought kind of the Vansar are really good at shooting, but they're not so good at close combat. So having a Gene Stealer in the mix will kind of help balance that out for them, maybe. So I'm going to call these the Radjack Brood. And
nice.
I'm looking forward to getting some games in with them.
Excellent. Anything else that you've been up to?
No, like I said, otherwise just chugging away on my Gene Stealer cult. I've got another few kind of neophytes and acolytes painted on that. Working my way towards getting the kind of the battle line units kind of painted, and then I'm gonna, once that's done, I'll divert over onto doing kind of the more fun stuff, some of the characters and stuff like that, and the patriarch and stuff like that. I did paint an old school sort of tactical marine up in Blood Angel colors, just because I'd done those last time. If you watched, I did a Space Hulk Terminator because I was painting up some of the Space Hulk Gene Stealers to go with the Gene Stealer cult, just to kind of work out a color scheme that worked on them. And I painted up one of the Blood Angel Terminators and went, oh, that was quite fun. So because I had a whole bunch of tactical marines kicking around a box, I thought, I'll paint that up, but I'll paint it up in kind of proper second edition, kind of orangey red armor with yellow chest eagle He is. I haven't got a picture of him because I haven't.
Black shoulder
basing
trims
him
as
yet.
well.
Black shoulder trims, yep, the whole 9 yards. And I'm going to do. I've got the special edition Games Day Captain that they did, where they modeled him off.
Oh God, I wish I hadn't sold mine. I regret.
Oh, you sold it? No.
Yeah.
Well, I've still got mine. I'm going to paint him up in nice bright colours as well, and maybe I'll just do like a little, because I use it in 3rd edition. I don't play that much. Although I've got the army book, I've got the codex and all the rules for 2nd edition, so maybe I'll play a game of 2nd edition with them at some point and do like a 2nd edition battle report. But otherwise, I really like 3rd edition. So it works equally well in 3rd edition, and I can do them in some goblin green bases.
Yes, it's got to be done. You have to get the ruined chapel, the terrain piece as well. That you can
my buddy Mike's got it actually. Yeah, he's got a 2nd edition Blood Angels army, and he 3D printed out the ruined chapel to kind of display them on in his miniature cabinet. They look really cool.
I've got one of those coming from the TT Combat. Started the coloured MDF terrain. So that was one of the add-on pieces. So I've ordered one.
Oh, cool. So
pardon?
Are you going to use it in games, or are you going to use it for like display, or what?
Probably both, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'll see what else, because I ordered some other bits. I ordered a bunker, which is very reminiscent of that card White Dwarf bunker from 169, I think it was. White Dwarf 169.
One where they show you how to make it yourself.
I've ordered a bunker and some defensive pieces as well, so we'll see what they come out like. It should be good. There was an option to go for classic blue or modern like steel grey colour, and I was toying with the blue, but I ended up going for the steel grey.
I do like the classic blue.
Yeah. Well, maybe I could get another one. So that's it for hobby updates for now then. Yeah. So Ben, what is it time for?
And now the news.
So LVO has just happened. There was loads of reveals, wasn't there? I mean, it was bigger than I thought it was going to be. It's
one of the best reveals they've done in like the last 12 months. I thought the one when they showed off like all the Eldar stuff was good. Yeah. This was, I think, the best reveal they've done in the last.
Yeah, they underplayed it, didn't they? And said you might see some of these reveals with the silhouettes and what have you. And then they were like, actually, we'll just show it all. So here's the Horus Heresy stuff and what have you.
Turn on the content hose.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't stay up to watch it like some content creators did. I wasn't doing that, but I got up in the morning. I was like, oh, whoa, I'm going to be late for work because I just had to look at it all. So anyway, we'll start off by taking a look at the one that follows on from what we saw at Christmas. So just bear with me 1 second while
you're loading this. I can say I did not expect to see as much
the controls. Luke makes it look so seamless. I haven't got 2 screens, so it's harder. So we should be looking at Fulgrim's followers.
Emperor's Children. I thought maybe we'd get like a unit or a character. I didn't expect them to go, no, just here's the army.
Here is the Emperor's Children. So starting off,
baby pink.
Following on from Fulgrim, we're getting a new book out with Fulgrim, the Perfect Son.
Yep.
So I can't see
interesting. Mortarion obviously got a book when he was released because they did the whole kind of Dark Imperium trilogy with getting him versus Gulliman. But Magnus, and I suppose Magnus has featured in a number of books because he's been kicking around for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we had the Wrath of Magnus, didn't we? The big 2-part Space Wolves thing as well. Where, the
whole battle for the Fang thing.
Yeah, Fenris was attacked, and we lost one of the Wolf Lords, didn't we? And
but I thought they didn't do an Angron novel, did they? When they launched?
Not that I recall. So here's the first one, Lucius the Eternal.
It's luscious.
I must admit, I do like how the whip is actually just an extension of the tongue that's coming out of his shoulder plate.
I think that was what it was like on the original, on the metal model. The previous one, I think it did the same, but this is just 9 times better as a sculpt. It really is. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting as well that he's in almost entirely black armor. He's a very gloss kind of black armor with silver trim.
Yeah, and you've got some of the screaming faces on the front of the armor.
It's not even on just the front. If you scroll down, I think they show the back of him, and like even things like the back of his calves and stuff has screaming faces pushing out of them.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and they've confirmed that is the lair blade as well, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
The sword that possessed Fulgrim, so pretty awesome.
This is really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think we were talking about it on one of the YouTube comments. The Emperor's Children, for me, I love all of it. But it's not something I could take the plunge on. I just don't have the patience to make that army look good, and it deserves a good paint job because the miniatures are absolutely stunning. So if we move down, these next one is the Lord's Exultant. So we've got a Emperor's Children Chaos Lord essentially, but there's 3 different build variants, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. It's a multi-part kit, and you can kind of mod different kind of weapons on there. I think it's even got like different armor bits and stuff as well. So are you able to swipe through them?
Yeah, I should be able to.
So it's
I mean, I like this one on the screen.
Spear.
Oh God, hang on. No.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, because I'm on the laptop, that's the problem. I don't think it's going to let me swipe through.
Oh, well, never mind.
Wait, I've got an idea. Should be some dots I can click on. There we go.
Oh, there is. Hey! So the next version up is armed with some kind of funky hand flavor type weapon or hand noise weapon and a whip.
Yeah, so he's got a sonic blast pistol, hasn't he? And some sort of wicked whip. But same body again as the other one. And he's got a very strange looking head with like...
it forms the Slanesh symbol, doesn't it? It's like his top of his head forms a bony crest.
Somebody joked that this is what an Eldar looks like when they take the helmet off.
Just like then pull it off, it goes stonk, springs outwards.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old Cornheads thing, if you remember that. And then
I remember that indeed.
This one's nice as well. I think this one would look really good, but with the helmet on. You know, the helmet
this is quite a simple pose. Well, this is just a plasma pistol and like power sword or something. So I think this is perhaps the most simple of the 3. I agree with you. I think the weapons combos, the first one looks good, but I do like the pale green cloaks that they've kind of painted on these.
Yeah, that's a really nice looking color scheme, actually, isn't it? But if we go back to the first one, I think I prefer this one, to be honest.
You like this color scheme? I mean, it's still got that pale green. You prefer this color scheme or this model?
I prefer this model, but I'd like to see this one with the pale green, color scheme.
I mean, they've put it on his like hair crest, but I think it would have looked cool on the cloak as well.
Yeah, I agree. But a very, very nice miniature. And then moving on, we've got
kind of a noise marine type commander with a giant kind of doom organ on his back. And again, this kind of harkens back to the one that they released in, I think it was in 3.5 or 4th edition. There was a Slanesh Lord they released then that had like organ pipes coming out the top of his backpack. But it's like here, they've jazzed it up and made it more kind of organic, more kind of, I don't know what the word I want to use is, more stylish, I guess.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from.
I mean,
he's carrying twin pistols as well, isn't he? And when I first looked at it, I thought they were like big, like weird claws. I think it's just the angle, the way it's pictured. But again, another nice looking miniature. And then we've got
the noise marines themselves. My one gripe: none of these have guitars. They've got the more, cacophony-looking weapons. But I wanted them to have electric guitars, or the option to have electric guitars.
Yeah, I like the color scheme on the weapons as well. It's that repeated sort of green there again, isn't it?
That kind of pale green color.
Yeah, no, these are really nice. So is it squad of 6? I think it is, isn't it? Did there used to be a squad of 10? I can't remember.
No, there was a box set that had an upgrade spruce. It was the 10-man Chaos Space Marine upgrade box set, and I think it came with a set of upgrades, like metal upgrades that you could attach. Again, it's going back to like 3rd edition or 3.5 technically, or 40k.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not that made a full squad of 10 with like sonic blasters, or if it was you could equip a certain number of models in the squad with sonic blasters, and the rest of them you kind of tooled up with bolt pistols and chainsaws and stuff. But no, 6. I mean, so obviously it's the sacred number of Slanesh, so it makes sense. And then they are puffy models; those look like they're on. It almost looks like they're on 40mm bases rather than 32s.
Very possibly. They got wide stances, haven't they?
They do. Really wide legs.
Yeah, it's the closest images there from the weapons and the backpack detail and stuff like that. Yeah, no, they're awesome. And then again, moving down, we've got sort of the 40k equivalent, if I can spit my teeth out, of the Palatine blades. So these are the flawless blades. So these are quite nice, actually. These were a nice surprise. I'm not sure on the cone heads, but if we on the video, I think there was a couple of different options shown off. Was it the combat patrol bit or?
Yeah, I'm hoping that it has like helmet options as well.
Yeah, I think there is. I'm sure I saw it on the video. But I do like the sort of the bare torso on a couple of them, and they look arrogant, don't they? So
they look really cool
by the sculpting.
No, they look like if you took the existing Palatine blade models from Horus Heresy and then kind of perverted them, they do have that same kind of vibe. I think that it's really cool that they've given, because up until now, obviously the only kind of unique unit that Slaanesh Emperor's Children have had has been the Noise Marines. So it's nice in the same way that they kind of built up the World Eaters, so that you had like the extra possessed version for the World Eaters. Now we've got the options for these. I was hoping that maybe we'd get to see like some Emperor's Children Terminators as well, like the ultimate version of the Phoenix Guard. I don't know. Maybe those are yet to come.
Yeah, hopefully we will go to see those. I think there might be a couple more things for the Emperor's Children that we've not seen yet. And then moving down, we've got... So there are two versions of the Legionnaires box, isn't there? There's a close combat version, and then there's the range version. So these are the Infractors. So these are the close combat versions.
I'll probably call them the stabby version and the shooty version, if I'm honest.
Yeah. So there's the stabby Emperor's Children and the shooty Emperor's Children.
Yeah.
Quite evident that there's only 5 bodies and it's duplicated sprues, which is a bit of a shame.
No, it's not unusual.
But it's standard now, isn't it?
There'll be enough options in there to mix and match so that you can make 10 unique looking Marines. Even if
we've got Birdo from Mario Kart.
You've got the guy who's got like the Mad Max style mask covering the lower half of his face.
Yeah, Bane as well, if we just move across. There's some obviously there looks like there's some nice options in the kit though.
I bet actually if you had some spare heads left over from this, even if there weren't helmeted heads in the Perfected Blades box, you could probably use some of these heads on it and it would look cool.
Yeah, and I think this will mix quite nicely with the standard Legionnaires kit as well, because that's a pretty decent kit, especially with the kill team upgrades brew as well. And then we'll just move on again.
It's like 2 more dots worth, isn't it? Because it is a box of 10.
Yeah, a box of 10. So that's obviously a throwback to the Emperor's Children upgrades that Forge World are doing.
That's actually my favourite.
I like that. It's still got the icon on his backpack as well. The
icon that's got kind of an element of kind of the Phoenix about it, but with the Chaos spikes coming out the top. That's my favourite.
Yeah, that's the best looking one for me. I really like that.
I think this may also be the first time we've seen a Chaos version of a Beaky helm. I could be corrected if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of the previous ever Chaos
you might be right, actually.
Have ever had a Beaky helm.
And then we've got like 2 extremes here, haven't they? We've got like... That's based on some artwork, isn't it?
That's because that is based very much on artwork that was in one of the books of Chaos.
Yeah, Mr. I Can Shout Loud, and then this is just like, Jesus, another 40,000 years of this. But yeah, nice, really nice looking kit. And then we can have a look at the boys with the long range guns.
Tormentors.
Yeah, so I mean, it's the same bodies, isn't it? But we just got different options in the kit. We've got a nice whip there, bolt guns, plasma gun, so sort of standard fare really for your Legionnaires.
Yeah,
but I mean, fair play to them. They said Emperor's Children were coming, and boy, have they arrived.
There's no way to say that without it sounding rude.
Yeah, I just realised what I've said.
And they've got a really cool box as well. They revealed, didn't they, that there's going to be a starter
Champions
box.
of Slaanesh, yeah.
And this is actually a really decent starting box.
20 Legionnaires in there just for, the standard ones. So the Infractors and the Tormentors. So you could build a squad of each. But then you get 10 Noise Marines and one of the...
I think it's 12, isn't it? Because you get 2 boxes of 6.
Sorry, 12. Yeah, it is. In fact, you're right. I'm thinking it's 5
the character and new Slaanesh transfer sheet.
Yeah, and Codex as well. So, yeah. I mean, I dread to think what it's going to cost. I'm guessing...
140?
A little bit more than the Krieg box are along the same lines of.
But it's a really, really good box. I mean, that is a solid base to an army there.
Jam-packed box, that isn't it, for Emperor's Children? If you've been waiting for Emperor's Children, you want to get on board, you want to be getting this box, really. I mean, the Codex, it's nice. It's limited edition. It's probably going to be out of date pretty quick, but it is what it is. I mean,
that's it. Haven't we? And actually, we were saying about the artwork. The artwork is on the cover. The one that's we referenced from the Book of Chaos with the kind of streamy face. It's on the cover of the limited edition one that comes in that box set.
Sorry, yes, it is. Yeah, you can just see it there.
Just see him in the background there.
Yeah, and then we've got the standard Codex cover as well.
Which again, awesome. It's kind of combining the pink and the green as well. So he's kind of carrying that color scheme through, giving them their own kind of unique look, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And then if we just scroll back up to the top,
if that weren't enough 40k already in the release.
Yeah, if I just whiz back up to the top, that was not the only Chaos Space Marine that was shown off, but they didn't mention this on the stream. It just appeared.
Just popped
this
in the background.
sprue was seen in the wild
quite a bit. This has been doing the round since before Christmas, I think. It started turning up in people's orders and games.
But now you can see it assembled and painted.
The ultimate in viral marketing, appropriately.
Yes. The Lord of Poxes, I believe it is.
Yeah, so this is the same kind of vein as like the Lord of Contagion and the Lord of Blights. This is now another kind of division, another part of the Nurgle hierarchy, the Lord of Poxes. I thought he had like a jump pack initially. I thought that was what that was supposed to be on his back.
Yeah, if you read it, it's quite cool. So apparently he incubates the viruses in his own lungs, and then it's these turbines on his back just like crank out the virus
into it.
Yeah.
And sprays it everywhere.
And he's got a really cool old school classic plasma pistol and a nice chunky rusty sword as well.
I like this model. I think he's
pretty good.
A bit daft, but I quite like him.
It's a standard Death Guard fare, isn't it? So just before we move on from 40k, it's worth mentioning they did give us sort of a semi roadmap.
Actual roadmap. I mean, it goes linear from left to right.
Yeah. So now, obviously, we know Eldari has just been announced for pre-order. At the time of recording this video, they're going to be up on Saturday.
This week,
Astra Militarum is out. Empress Children, they've just revealed. Next up, this is interesting. So World Eaters, Death Guard, and Thousand Suns. Now, there's no mention of Chaos Knights or Codex Knights, which were, from what we last saw on those, whatever you call them, they were supposed to be next.
You can see a hint for the Chaos Knights. So
yeah, so I was going to say on the right, we've got some very interesting clues. So Grey Knights, obviously. The bottom
top left is Grey Knights. It's
bottom left black and white is Black Templars.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom right black and white we can assume is Chaos Knights.
Yeah.
And then top right, some people were saying this could be Codex Salamanders or a Codex supplement for like, I don't know, Codex compliant-ish chapters like White Scars, Salamanders, Raven Guard, Imperial Fists. Or it could be something entirely different. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it is definitely a salamander in the image.
Absolutely a salamander. You can see
he's got the drake heads in amongst the flames. So it's definitely a salamander. It's a Gravis armored salamander. And I've been pondering this, and I mentioned this in my video on the LVO last week. We're going to get essentially this year is going to be a year of chaos. I mean, in terms of, they did tease that 40k, I think it was the reveals at the end of last year. They said that this year was going to be the year of chaos. That was like the big theme. And it makes a lot of sense given we've got all 4 of the Chaos Legions coming out and Chaos Knights coming out. It's leaving the Imperium fairly drastically outnumbered, it has to say. And looking through it and thinking, well, okay, we had Gulliman come back. Then we had the Lion come back. Next logical Primarch in terms of Primarchs who are known to be kicking around is Vulcan. Vulcan lives. I think we might get a full Salamanders Codex with the release of the returned plastic Vulcan.
Could well be.
Which would be awesome. And I only say that not just because I've got a Salamander's successor army and I'd be like, yep, get me one of those.
Yeah, well, my other theory is rather than a Codex Salamanders, there's an option of maybe Codex Armageddon could come back, but I think that's a very, very long shot. I still maintain 40k Universe is going back to Armageddon at the tail end of 10th edition as it ticks over into 11th, like they did with Arcs of Omen. Armageddon will be the big setting, and that's where you'll see the Space Wolves come back.
Well, I mean, in terms of, funnily enough, Death Corps, very similar to Steel Legion. In fact, Templars are on there. Ooh, Armageddon, you could be onto something there. The Salamanders play a vital part in the Third War for Armageddon.
Something is coming for Armageddon. It's in the main rulebook as one of the major war zones as well. I mean, it always has been, but it's listed up there with the Prior Nexus, with the Arcs of Omen stuff, with the Cross Swords emblem. I have done a video on it ages ago. I'm going to revisit that topic. Armageddon, something big is coming. Whether that means anything for Salamanders, I'm not sure. I think we're going to get a new Vulcan Hestan model as well, the Forge Father.
I think you would be right on that. I think we may both be right, and I'll tell you why. So
I'm all for it. There is another Loyalist Primarch coming back. They've said as much, so it could well be Vulcan.
Well, from a lore point of view, let's just follow it through. we know that the reason Armageddon is so popular with the orcs is because Armageddon is what was once Ullanor. Yeah.
Yes. Spoiler
We
alert,
know
but yeah.
If you're watching this, you're probably enough of a 40k Warhammer geek that you're not gonna. So the War of the Beast book series that they did about 10 years ago now, somewhat depressing.
Yeah.
That long ago. In that, the Beast, it turns out, is on what was once Ullanor, and he ends up getting defeated by then at the time the only surviving loyalist Primarch, Vulcan, who battles the Beast in this titanic combat on Ullanor, and then the pair of them disappear. And whether or not Vulcan is, buried under the rubble, or whether he's been dragged into the warp, it's a titanic struggle. What if it is Codex Armageddon, and we get the return of Vulcan on Armageddon?
Well, there is rumors of a Titan buried on Armageddon. Maybe somebody's misinterpreted that, and it's not a Titan, but Vulcan is the Titan.
That would be awesome. Think about it. I mean, in terms of, you said you thought it was going to be Angron making a return to Armageddon rather than any of the orcs.
No, I thought there'd be a demon Primarch come back, and I didn't necessarily think it was Angron. But I think
he was the first War of Armageddon, wasn't he?
Yes. I think maybe the Space Wolves and the Grey Knights are going to have a part to play, but the Grey Knights look like they're coming possibly earlier. So, but I think the campaign books for the end of 40k, I'm going to put money on it, is Armageddon.
That would be really. I would,
because you could throw out orcs in the jungles. There's still orcs in the jungles of Armageddon. You could chuck out Steel Legion if you wanted another Imperial Guard regiment, or you could put jungle fighters in the jungles on Armageddon.
You could just kind of go, hey, just make yourself some Steel Legion by painting Death Corps of Krieg as Steel Legion.
Templars have always had a massive presence on Armageddon. Salamanders fought in the, I think it was the Second War for Armageddon. Tusham was put in command of one of the campaigns, wasn't he?
I'm sorry, I'm getting ridiculously overexcited now, because I'm thinking, imagine if you've got Angeron goes back to Armageddon, because he did the first invasion of Armageddon, the first War of Armageddon. Vulcan emerges from the surface, the Titan buried under the surface of Armageddon. Vulcan emerges to fight Angeron, and then in terms of full-blown meme hammer, Ghazghkull, who everyone's been saying is after Angeron because people have been speculating that the skull with the bionic eye on Angeron's belt is Yarrick. Ghazghkull turns up to avenge Yarrick, and you end up with Ghazghkull, Angeron, and Vulcan fighting each other on Armageddon.
Or Yarrick returns. Because even Games Workshop retcon their own death of Yarrick by posting a full community article. They didn't just do it as a footnote. They posted a full community article saying, is Yarrick dead, or were we wrong?
I was going to say, like Chuck Norris style, you've got Angeron, Ghazghkull, Vulcan all fighting each other, and then out of the dust, swirling dust, Yarrick just walks in and slaps the lot of them.
Yarrick, Ghazghkull will want to scrap with his best Umi opponent, won't he?
Yarrick and Ghazghkull team up to fight Angeron, even better. We could
Never
just
know.
go on with ages for this.
And you got the enmity between Logan Grim. Logan, let us know in the comments what you think the future of 40k holds. But Logan Grim now as well, his enmity with the Grey Knights and the Inquisition as well. Well, not so much the Grey Knights, but he's not happy with what happened the first time when they just decided, we'll just sterilize everyone.
Turn the whole thing into a full-blown WrestleMania style throwdown.
Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that's it. And here comes Logan Grimdark with a chair.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't have a sled anymore in his new miniature. I saw the rumor is because here comes Logan Grimdark with the sled. Gosh.
And smash.
So let us know in the comments what you think those Salamander and the Black Templars and the Grey Knight stuff, what it could mean, or is it just codexes? But especially the Space Marine one, or do you think we might be getting a Space Marine Codex Mark II with updates in it and so on and so forth?
Crazy.
Because, they've said they might do another Space Marine Codex. They've done it before in one edition.
Space Marine Codex.
So moving on then, let's have a look at the next LVO reveal that we can get ridiculously excited about. And Ben, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one.
Go on, I know what this is going to be then.
And I was right. I did say it wouldn't just be books.
It's
like library.
Books. We've got two, count them, two Black Library miniatures revealed this year, which is pretty cool. The Black Library continue to push Minska Lensk, the most furious Cadian of them all. And it's not just her. Actually, she's coming with a full-blown command squad. I confess I haven't read the Minska Lensk books yet, but I'm going to have to now because these characters all look really cool and interesting. And I mean, even if you're not a fan of the books, I bet you could probably find a use for these in the Imperial Guard army. These look cool. But it's not just her. No, the most treacherous dark elf of them all in the old Age of Sigmar, at least, is also putting in an appearance. The not Felix to Gotrek's Realm Slayer. It is Malameth Witchblade. This I'm not so sure about. I've always liked the artwork that they've done for her. Maybe this is going to be one of those things if it's the paint job rather than the sculpt. But the face doesn't work for me on this. If you scroll down a little bit further, I think they've got artwork showing what they've taken their inspiration from. Because she's got her own book coming as well, which is appropriate. There we go. Shade of Cain. And yeah, I don't know. There's something about the face on the miniature. It doesn't quite have the same grace.
I know what you mean.
That
she's looking a bit like she's complaining about somebody parking in a space there, isn't she?
Yes, she looks like Age of Sigmar Karen.
You took the words right out of my mouth. She looks like she's banging on your car window and complaining.
Yes.
Whereas on the cover of the book, she is quite the good-looking elf assassin, isn't she?
Yeah, graceful and deadly, rather than annoying and I want to speak to the manager. But yeah, so
both of these going to be released Black Library Celebration. So yeah, it'd be quite interesting.
I'm intrigued to note that why we're getting two. I guess maybe this will be an ongoing trend now. Maybe they'll do like their two main game systems every year. They'll do a Black Library miniature for each of them. That's really quite a cool idea.
Yeah, and the Minska Lesk novel, I should say, is Hell's Last, it's called. That should be an interesting one. And then I've got to say as well, let's go scroll back up. One of the miniatures, Ben, I wanted to mention this one here.
Oh, the one at the lower left.
Yeah, it would make an excellent sort of bounty hunter or mercenary for Necromunda.
Yeah, definitely. I actually think the Commissar is my favourite of this little group of four.
Oh, yeah.
Really old man-looking Commissar.
Yeah, you can just imagine him, can't you? Yes, that assault didn't quite go as planned. But yeah, very, very good.
No, very cool.
Yeah, so let's move on and have a look at the next one. Sorry, I've got to flick in and out of these because it's quite annoying.
We're not as technically savvy as Luke.
No, not at all. But the next one, I need to calm myself just for a second because we're moving to Age of Sigmar now. And this was one of probably, I'd say it's the highlight of my
is this your highlight?
To be honest. Well, maybe not the highlight, but the biggest surprise for me. So Soulblight Gravelords, Death Rattle army set, and other things as well. What a set of miniatures this is. So we've got new Barrow Guard, but we've got a new White King on a skeletal steed to begin with. And what an incredible looking miniature.
I think what I like about these in particular is they almost harken back to like the original third and fourth edition Undead sculpts. They've gone back to that kind of barbaric fantasy look, you know, the tasseled plume on the helmet blowing in the breeze.
Yeah, like the dead knights rising up from a graveyard with the old rusty armor and the
but also I mean they do look like, you know, they're wearing kind of barbaric fantasy armor, like these are supposed to be like chieftains buried in a barrow in ancient times.
Yeah, these are like Conan's enemies that have been dug up from the dirt,
like the Atlantean king from the first Conan movie. They have that kind of really old school vibe, and I love it. I love it that we've got that kind of callback to it.
I mean, it's just an absolutely fantastic looking miniature. I've been looking for something to get me into Age of Sigmar 4th edition and like looking for the right spearhead maybe or something. Tempted by the Deep King, but I was like, oh, it's quite an old range now. I'm waiting for something else to come. This is going to be hard to resist. The spearhead looks great, which we'll look at in a moment. But this is an alternate build, I believe, for the White King, isn't it? It's the same base.
Yes, it's the same model, just a different build. He's got a different helm. He's got a different weapon.
So it's a White Lord.
Got a different head even as well.
Yes, this is a White Lord, whereas the other one is a White King. And then moving down, we've got their retinue, really, the barrel guard, I think they're called, aren't they? Yeah, the barrel guard.
So again, it's kind of replacing Grave Guard, I'm
I
assuming.
love this guy. I love the pose on that. I mean, the Sons of Velmorn were some of my favorite miniatures I've ever painted from Underworlds, and these just give me that vibe again with the scale, the rip fabric, the belt buckles, and everything.
They're like a natural evolution of that kind of style of sculpting, and also what they did with the Skeleton Warriors when they gave them a revamp in the kind of, I think it was 3rd edition Age of Sigmar that those Skeleton Warriors got released.
Yeah, these are really nice. I mean, I like painting skeletons as well, so this bodes well for me. I love the banner as well. I mean, the paint job on it is really good as well.
It is.
I don't think it's a transfer. But yeah, again, I love that the individuality of each one, even though they're all skeletons in the same sort of looking sets of armor, they just look awesome.
I like the little Batwing helms because they've done Batwing helms before on previous, skeletons immemorial. Since they've been doing undead images, but these actually look like something that I can imagine would have been the helmet of a mortal warrior at some point in the past, rather than being something that's kind of an over-the-top gothic representation.
Yeah, I mean, I like the details on some of the faces, even though they're just skulls. Like he's got a big tooth missing, and that looks like he's got the lower jaw missing. I love the drum as well. That's a cracking paint job on the drum.
Yeah. I like the kind of two-handed glaives that they've given them as well. They're kind of helmety-looking weapons.
Yeah, I think if I wasn't going to get the Death Rattle Army or the Spearhead for Age of Sigmar, I think, to be honest, I'd be picking up a box of these Barrel Guard anyway, just to paint them up because they're stunning.
I'd like to use them. I mean, there's rules for using Grave Guard in Curse City, and I've got the Curse City set, so I'd be very tempted to pick these up and use these.
Oh, yeah, I mean, again, Curse City had some really good skeletons in it as well.
It did, and these have that same kind of DNA it seals in their sculpting, that kind of the scale mail, the kind of corroded, pitted armor.
Yeah. I mean, this one is very similar to one of the Sons of Velmorn, actually, in terms of the pose. But yeah, I do like the halberds. You called it right there, Ben.
No, they're just glorious
models as well.
And actually, this kind of awesome sculpt carries through into the next thing further down. If we scroll down, which is the kind of replacement for Black Knights, I guess, Barrow Knights.
Yeah, I mean, again, these are just superb. They're very, very Conan's enemies there, isn't it?
It is. I obviously get kind of a vibe as well of like you say, the animated suits of armor kind of look, that knights dragged from the grave look.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the sort of scale armor on the horses, and then the lance as well. That's just epic.
The only thing I don't like is the fin in the middle of the horse's head. I would be tempted to do something like shave that off, I think.
Yes.
It looks like a go faster fin, like a spoiler, in case the horse goes too fast. You need the downdraft to push it down.
Yeah, and then we've got the doot as well.
It's got a horn dooter because skeletons can blow horns.
Well, that's it. Is what I say. I love answering the question though. How can skeletons blow horns? How can skeletons be alive? The same magic.
Yes.
The same magic that makes it walk around is the same magic that blows the horn.
I think one of the things that excites me about these, not just because they're amazing sculpts and I've got a Soulblight army that these are going to look lovely in, but it's what this potentially portends for the old world. Because this frees up the Graveguard set, it frees up the Black Knight set, it frees up, I mean, the Skeleton set, they already replaced the Skeleton set with the like I said, the ones that were released in third. The Zombie set has been released. All of the older Warhammer Fantasy undead sets, I think now, have been replaced by glorious new kind of Age of Sigmar models.
Yeah.
And this to me suggests that maybe, I know they said that none of the Legends armies were going to make their way into the old world, but given how well the old world is doing, I mean, how much of a moneymaker it must be for
them. I mean, they said Cathay wasn't going to appear for
anytime soon
or any plans in the future, but we'll talk about that in a minute because
indeed. Well, I wonder if this portends that the Vampire Counts might be making an appearance in the old world quicker than we thought.
Yeah. Very, very true. In the Death Rattle Army set as well, by the way, just like with the Emperor's Children one, there's a limited edition book. So this time you get Battle Tome, Soul Black Gravelords. So we've got like a gold fancy version, which Again,
the cover art's nice.
be...
I actually prefer the cover for the main one that they've shown.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be chock full of lore and background and stuff like that, but again, it might be out of date pretty quickly with FAQs and what have you, but you're still going to end up with a nice book. And then moving on, Prince.
As if that weren't enough.
Yeah, Prince Vordry. I mean, for me, looking at that, that is going to be your contender for mini of the year. It's going to be up there, isn't it, for 2025 as well?
It has to be. I mean, the thing that I think is so cool is for a character that they invented to give a name to the vampire lord that came in the Zombie Dragon box set that they were porting over from Warhammer Fantasy. They invented Prince Vordry to create a named character out of that box set as Age of Sigmar was starting up. And now here he is with quite possibly the most glorious vampire on a dragon model we've ever seen. It's nice to see that he's kind of grown and come into his own in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely stunning. If we scroll down, there's a few close-ups. I mean, he's even got his own little blood snack bowl on his dragon.
Yeah, you know, it's a cup holder. This isn't any dragon. This dragon comes with a cup holder.
Yeah,
absolutely. AM/FM radio speakers.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of the minis of the year. And if that weren't enough, you can actually build it as Draconith on its own as well, can't you?
Well, you can take units. The lore that they mention in this is really interesting as well. Obviously, there's the two noble sons of Draconith that you can use in the Stormcast Eternal army. But to find out that actually they had a third brother who was dabbling in necromantic magic, and they turned against him. So he begged Nagash for his assistance, and Nagash was like, "Yeah, sure, just sign on the dotted line here, and eternal servitude for you." But yeah, it's an incredible piece of lore. So that's the dragon that Prince Vordry is riding, and then he's essentially, whilst he was still kind of in the early honeymoon period of his servitude to Nagash, he struck a deal to kind of resurrect the spirits of all the dead drakes that, oh God, what's he called? The big four-legged centaur dude. I can't remember his name. Destruction character. Anyway, they got all the dragons that were killed by him.
What's he called? No.
Scroll up. It's in the article. Sorry, folks. We are professional Warhammer chatterists, I promise.
Crondis.
No, Crondis is one of the dragons.
Where is it? No, we're back on.
It's further down. Resurrect.
Shardmaid, Lord of Revenants. This Draconith once dabbled in necromantic magic. In efforts to destroy many of the great drakes slain by Kragnos.
Kragnos, that's the name. Yes.
I knew it was something. I was almost there. Kragnos.
Yeah, so you can take these dragons that were killed by Kragnos as just like part of your army now. So, hey, Sigmar turned up with a bunch of dragons. That's fine. We've got dragons too, and they're rotting.
Yeah, and then again, if that wasn't enough, scrolling down. So this Vampire Lord, is this new? Because
this is new. This was leaked. It had some potatoey can pictures, but this is new. This is someone going, why are vampires? You've got vampire knights, but you can't put like a character near them on horseback because we've got no vampire lord on horseback miniature. Hurry up and make one. So we do, and it's a glorious one. And again, I think this is one of those ones you look at it and just go, that's a really nice kind of multi-option sculpt. You've got the choice to armor with a sword or an axe. There's a couple of different head options in there, and then got kind of skeletons crawling out of the grave on the base. The
base is fantastic, isn't it? I love the base.
It's really simple as well. It's the sort of thing you can almost do yourself if you had the spare bits left over, but that gives it that really nice kind of vibe.
Yeah, and I like that the horse isn't a skeleton horse either. It's sort of
from a nightmare steed.
Nightmare steed, yeah, exactly. And then moving down, we've got the Soulblight Gravelords Death Rattle Tomb Horse, which is the spearhead. And I mean, what a box that looks like. So we've got a squad of Barrow Knights, a set of Barrow Guard, and then we've got the Death Rattle Skeletons, which is really interesting because it says here 10 Death Rattle Skeletons, an all new kit that is easier to build but closely follows the design aesthetics of the old one. So it's not the existing Death Rattle Skeleton kits. They
Yeah,
haven't
because the
shown them
existing one is
individually.
nice, and it's in very much the same vein as the skeletons they
Yeah.
produced for Curse City, but they are monopose to a degree. There's very little posability to them. So
But
if
this
this
is a
is
new
easier to
kit,
build
apparently.
and lets you make things that perhaps give them a bit more individuality, that's really cool. And then there's the classic White King on foot model.
Yeah, I was going to say the old White King's in there as well, isn't it? I mean, that is a good-looking spearhead, to be honest.
It's an excellent looking spearhead. I would have rather had one of the mounted White Kings in there, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Rather than the White King. Because I think the White King model is nice, but compared to all this new Barrow Guard and Barrow Knight stuff, I think he actually looks a little dated.
Yeah, it's not some. I mean, that's just a nicety to have and maybe paint it up and put it on the shelf, I think. But they don't have to know how to present a box. I mean, that the sort of the graveyard image in the background and stuff like that. Good marks.
And then skeletons all standing in the smoke at the front.
Yeah, and then of course, like you said, we've got the standard.
I prefer this art.
The Soul Blight Gravelords with the Vampire Lord on the steed there.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really nice. Oh dear me, it's going to be tough. So
just think you've already spent a bunch of money on Eldar, now you've got to buy Soul Blight.
Eldar and High Elves, and now it's like I hear the clatter of bones. It's like, oh, skeletons. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments on YouTube or on our Discord. What do you think of Soul Blight Gravelord stuff? And then we've still got plenty more to talk about. There is even more.
We're like not even halfway through. We've been going for like 40 odd minutes, and we're not even halfway through.
Yeah. So next one, if I can just get the screen going, if you just bear with me 1 second, we're going to Necromunda. It is surprisingly, actually, Ash Waste Nomads are getting an upgrade kit and some new heads and bits and bats. And some beasties as well.
I said they were Ash Waste beasties.
Yeah, so Ash Waste Nomads, which I think is a really nice kit. I've still got the box that I've not done anything with yet. They're getting some upgrades, basically. So
yeah, in the same way that like they did the different upgrade boxes for the house gangs, they're doing an upgrade box for the Ash Waste Nomads.
Yeah, well, this is a new unit that's coming out, isn't it? The Shadar Hunters.
It is, but it's in the same way they did like the Death Maidens and the Wild Runners for Escher, or the Stillers and Forgeborn for Goliaths.
So rather than have the rifles and stuff, these have got like bony claws and appendages and knives and stuff, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got weapons that are made out of kind of bits of the various Ash Waste bugs that they train. And you've got like a guy with a couple of whips and then vials of what looks like poison, and a guy with a pole arm that's made out of some kind of bug's claws. It's really cool stuff.
These are more feral looking nomads, aren't they? They're more mutant looking than the existing ones because a lot of them carried rifles and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely more bestial kind of. Well, I suppose it makes that kind of nice balance. What you're looking for in these upgrade things is something that plays to the strength of the gang, that gives the player more options. And in the same way, like, the Stimmers beef up the Goliaths, they give them that heavy kind of shock troop that plays to the Goliath's strength. Then you have the Forgeborn to give them the kind of the longer range shooty option. This gives the kind of quite shooty Ash Waste gang more of a melee option.
Yeah, and then we've got Arthur the Spireworm, so Arthromite Spineworms. Yeah.
Just call them Arthur.
Yeah, so Spineworms, basically. So this was the thing that was featured on the silhouette where they gives a little bit of a tease. So these are sort of your little weird millipede-style Spineworms, as it says. And it says the anticoagulant properties in the saliva, which means a single bite is a death sentence. Nice, cool bit of lore there.
A toxin bite, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and then moving on, we've got an upgrade set for basically the Ash Waste Nomad kit. So loads of different weapons, loads of different heads, arms, some new banners and things like that. So this is like the Ash Waste upgrade for the Ash Waste Nomads. So I don't know if this was necessary or not, but it's a nice upgrade.
It's nice that they're treating them exactly the same way all the house gangs got treated.
Indeed, yeah, exactly. I mean, I do like some of these weapons actually. Yeah, I like the blunderbuss style. Is that a web pistol or maybe? And then we've got...
If you scroll up, I think it lists some of the weapons that are featured there. So let's see if it mentions the Weber. Venom casters, blast carbine, stud guns, auto guns, heavy blaster. It could be a web pistol. It could be that could be the Venom caster. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, you can see the Scavenge auto gun there, can't you, and stuff like that. So yeah, nice. And then they're going to be coming in a book called Tribes of the Wasteland. So that's the only downside of it. Another book for Necromunda.
I have gotten to the point where I am now at one with and happy to continue to see and receive books. If it anything like the Halls of Artifice book that I was reading the review on Goonhammer actually this week for that, and apparently I can't wait to get my hands on it. It is chock full of lore. And looking back through some of the other Necromunda books, that is one of the things that the house books do so well, is they give a great big hefty, tasty, meaty chunk of lore to the Necromunda game.
Yeah, and they've said that this is another House of style release, so greatly expanding the options available for Ashwaste Nomads, comprising extracts from the 3 of the most famous pieces of written work on the Ashwaste, updated gang rules, new hired guns, and dramatis personae. So, again, I think it's going to have all the rules that already exist on. I think is it Book of the Outlands they're in?
Book of the Outlands, yes, I've got that one.
And the Ashwaste rule book. So, yeah, it'll be extra stuff. And then, not only that, there's a new Thetos pattern fortified hub module as well. So if you got the Ashwaste terrain, you can get a fortified hub module, which has got guns on it and all sorts. This is pretty awesome looking, I must admit.
It is, and this would look equally cool on like a 40k board as like a watchtower or something. For
I mean, my first thought when I saw this was 4 of these in corners on like a penal planet or something like that.
Nice,
you got prison watchtowers or something. Some 40k equivalent, or some 40k equivalent of Blood Bowl, put in like a prison, a prison bowl. And then anyone that makes it to Hype Secundus the same, basically the ruined Zone Mortalis terrain, you can now get a big chunking box of it to make any sort of board that you want. So
this is in the same way that they did kind of the Hive Sector box set, which was just big chunks of all the kind of columns and doors and pillars and stuff. This is the ruined version of it, isn't it? Which is, again, I suppose, if you want to kind of get a big sort of sector of your terrain built with that, it's probably a way of saving some money and getting a whole bunch of it.
Yeah, 72 pieces in the box. So, I mean, I dread to think how much it's going to cost, but yeah, very interesting. And then we've got another small reveal to take a look at. Again, this is one that we didn't expect because it wasn't on the.
I'm not sure that they intended to do this.
Yeah, so we saw that there was 40k reveals coming, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, because they showed the game logos. But then all of a sudden, we got a little Horus Heresy one as well. So
I'm wondering if somebody didn't realise and put the art for the Thanatar in the article. They went, "Oh, we have to reveal it now. We've teased it."
Yeah, so we've got a new Thanatar Siege Automata, haven't we? Go on, Ben, take it away.
It's the plastic version of the classic resin kit. But this one now, you don't have to worry quite so much if it falls off the table. It will bounce. It is exactly the same glorious Thanatar model that we've come to know and love from the existing Horus Heresy game, but now in plastic, and it would appear with kind of, whereas the previous Thanatar one, they released various kind of resin weapon options you could add to the kits. You could add the mortar on the back or the big laser. This one, it looks as if they kind of put all the weapon options in the box, which is quite cool.
Yeah, it's got different weapons, hasn't it?
Got the Graviton Ram. It's got the heavy las cannon. And yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll do the big mortar as perhaps an upgrade sprue that you can have to make this into the Thanatar version with the giant mortar shell. I just want them to give us 40k rules for these. I desperately wish they would give 40k rules for all the Mechanicum stuff from the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, because I mean, they're going to sell more of them if they do that as well. You might see more people building Mechanicum armies and stuff like that. What's interesting as well, they did say at the bottom of the article, Heresy Thursday will continue again this week. A new character taking the stage, so maybe we might see another Legion Praetor.
I was saying, we've had now traitor and loyalist.
We've had the heralds, we've had the banner bearers, we've had the human chaplain.
The one who encourages the humans in different ways.
So we've got the onward to glory loyalists, and we've got
dogs.
Run or die. Yeah, and then we've got the 2 icon bearers, haven't we?
I wonder what they'll do next. Will it be a Praetor or will it be
a new character?
Yeah.
Or will it be a named character like Endred Har? And obviously we've had him, but there are still a couple of others that haven't appeared, so you never know.
We will no doubt be talking about it in the podcast in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, indeed. But that is not all. We've still got plenty more to come.
We're still going.
We're still going, but let us know what your thoughts are on the Horus Heresy stuff as well. So moving swiftly on, we're going to go to the next one, which is, and this is going to be expensive. It's going to be expensive. It's the High Elves at last.
Yay!
So we knew that the High Elves were coming
Old
for the
World.
Old World, and they finally released the battalion box. What's coming? They haven't done the made to order stuff yet, but obviously,
Oh god, I hadn't even noticed that. I hadn't even twigged.
Yeah. So
My brain
battalion
is clearly
box.
slow.
It's as we feared. So 66 miniatures in total. I've just done a video on this as well. So you're going to get 32 of the standard spearmen, 32 standard archers, got 2 Tyrannoc chariots, which you can build as your white lines of trace chariots.
Yeah.
And then a set of transfers as well. So as far as core troops, you've got loads in the box. It's like all the other battalion boxes we've seen. But
it is interesting to see that the shields, they've moved away from providing the embossed kind of glue onto the plastic shield sculpted symbols, which is what this kit originally came with. Because originally you got the plastic shields through, and then it came with a whole bunch of little kind of embossed.
That is a great point. I never
shapes.
Noticed that.
They've replaced it instead with transfers. So now, because those don't get me wrong, I've got a set of those High Elves with the big kind of chunky embossed shields that I was painting just before Christmas. And they do look good, but they do look a little bit goofy when you look at think about the fact that they basically like triple the thickness of the shield.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a shield boss, and then there's making things a bit silly. These do look much nicer with just the transfers on, I've got to say.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping they'd go like with one of the older battalion boxes, either the one that had the silver helms in or the one with the bolt thrower. But it is all foot slagging with 2 chariots. So, I mean, it's not bad. But for me, I'm probably going to skip this box and then just build a force out of different units, because the spearmen at the minute, they aren't very good. So there are other options for you.
I like the spearman models. I've been painting a whole bunch of them.
Oh, yeah. What I mean to say is the spearman models, for me, are fine. I like the look of them. But on the tabletop, they're not very effective, is what I meant. So
fair enough.
And then next up, we've got the 48-page book, as Ben calls it, the Flavour Pamphlet.
The Flavour Pamphlet.
Some nice lawn, 2 armies of infamy. Now, I thought we might see a Calador-themed one, and I knew there'd be a Sea Guard style one as well. But we've got a Tracian war host with a new lord as well, and then a Sea Guard.
I was pretty much guaranteed it was going to be Crace once I'd seen that they were re-releasing the
Core Hill Lionmane.
Yeah, Core Hill Lionmane character.
Yeah,
because generally the armies of infamy are shaped by the character models that they release.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to your takedown on this, because you've done one for every other Arcane journal. So
I've not done the Empire one yet.
Well, no, but if you've not seen the Flavour Pamphlet breakdowns where Ben uses real science to compare them to different fantasy rules, you should go and have a look on his channel, because they are quite amusing and quite informative as well. There will be a reference card pack and dice. But, you know, are you really bothered about that? But then there's a transfer sheet, which is quite nice, 356 transfers. But then moving on,
for banners, I think those are quite nice.
Yeah. One of the new characters, so this will go with your armies of infamy. Lord of Trace or Crace. I don't know how you pronounce it, to be perfectly honest. I've always said Trace, but yeah, I like this. Really nice.
It's a lovely model.
Rather dignified, studying the battlefield pose. It's very elf-like.
Well, what's interesting, again, show the old world geekery here. What's interesting as well is he's wearing the lion cloak, which means that at some point he has to have served as a member of the Phoenix King's bodyguard, because only the huntsmen of Crace can wear the lion cloaks, because they have the leave of the Phoenix King to hunt the white lions in the forests and mountains of Crace. So at some point, this guy has to have served in the Phoenix King's bodyguard, which is quite cool.
He's an experienced commander then, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I like how he's armed with a sword and an axe as well, which is pretty cool. I love the pose. It's very awesome.
Very haughty elf as well.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going down the sort of sea theme, which I probably will do, I think I might just have to have this just to paint, to be honest with you. But the other character, it's not Finnabar the Seafarer, which we thought it might be.
I was honestly convinced it was going to be Finnabar.
I was fully on board with you. I thought it was going to be, but this is Ishaya Vess, Sentinel of the Silent Isle. And just show a bit of geekery as well. This is based on a piece of Mark Gibbons' artwork. Not a full piece of art, It was a sketch that he did. And he actually posted it on Facebook the other day. I will, for anyone who's on our Discord, I'll post a picture on Discord. Excuse me. Yeah, and this was a piece of art he did over 20 years ago, and he said it's great to see it finally appear in the flesh.
And she's got a trident, which I can't see tridents without thinking of the scene from Anchorman. I killed a guy with a trident.
Leaning very heavily into the nautical theme. There's an eye patch and a trident.
Not a pirate. Cough, cough.
Kind of looks like seaweed hanging off her as well. But yeah, very dynamic looking miniature. So awesome. And then moving on, we've got loads of plastic kits coming back. So we've got Illyrian Reavers. Now,
this is interesting.
At first glance, you could be forgiven for thinking these were the Island of Blood ones, but they're not. These are new sculpts based very closely, or heavily influenced, it says.
Yeah, these are essentially almost like a resculpt of the Island of Blood.
In Island of Blood. Yeah, I think these are designed where if you had the Island of Blood Reavers, you could chop them in with these and no one would notice the difference. But this is essentially a new kit, which is pretty awesome.
I love
it. And then we've got more plastic kits coming back. So the Lord on the Dragon, that's going to be popular because given how powerful dragons are at the minute, that's going to be an awesome kit to have back. And then we've got Frostheart Phoenix or Flamespire Phoenix, however you want to build it. And you can put a Lord on there as you want. So another plastic kit coming back. That's from 8th, I believe, isn't it, Ben?
That was, yes.
Then we've got a Lord on foot and a Lord mounted. We've got a Mage on foot and a Mage mounted. And then we've got the Lowmaster of Hoth, I believe, as well, the Elven Battle Mage. I like this one.
Yeah, so this is like a single monopose miniature. There's no kind of sculptability to this compared to the other two you just shown.
Yeah, I think this is a really nice miniature.
I do too. I think he's a really kind of nice combo between what you get with the Swordmasters and kind of the more kind of robe wearing mages.
Yeah, and then we've got Dragon Princes of Caldor coming back. I mean, that's a solid kit anyway, isn't it?
There's the nicest kit released during 8th.
Yeah, solid kit. So pleased to see that come back.
Hate the bum to transport though.
Yeah, Silver Helms, they're coming back. I mean, some people complain about this kit. I quite like it. I think it's still all right, to be perfectly honest.
It's a little dated, but it's a good solid kit.
Yeah, and then we've got another interesting one. So Lothern Seaguard. So this is a kit coming back from Island of Blood. From the looks of things, it's pretty much the same miniatures, isn't it? It's just they've obviously separated them out onto their own sprues.
The only thing that they've done that looks different is those shields don't look sculpted.
Oh, I thought they were. If you just look carefully there, it looks like there's a bit of sculpted on it.
Okay, maybe they are the sculpted shield. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe that they would have done them as transfers again rather than leaving the sculpted detail. I mean, the sculpted detail makes it much, much easier to paint. Just saying.
And then another one of my favourite kits coming back, Phoenix Guard.
See, my only problem with these is I liked the Phoenix Guard metal miniatures that they released during 6th edition better, but I'm told by those who've built them that these are easier to build. The Phoenix Guard from 6th edition, the metal ones with the separate halberd hand, had a habit of breaking, or so I've been told by friends with elven armies.
Yeah. But I like that kit. And then again...
And there's more!
Swordmasters of Hoth, another kit from Island of Blood. So this, again, is the same miniatures. However, if you look at this guy, I think... Am I right in assuming that banner bearer and the musician is new?
Yes. So the banner bearer on the lower half of it is the same. That's the one that was in the Island of Blood.
So holding the banner. I mean, I remember that miniature because I always looked at it and thought, wow, what a standard bearer. The command guy is the same. However, it looks like he's got a different weapon option for his right hand there.
Yes. So it looks as though there's an alternative build that you can do if you want to do 2 units of these and have them look different.
And then we've got really nice. Or whatever it is, a hornblower. That's new as well, I believe.
Can you just go back up to the Lothern Seaguard? I wonder if they did the same thing there, and we didn't.
I couldn't see new command options for the Seaguard, but I could be wrong.
Let's just take a look. So,
sorry, I've gone too far.
Too far. Go back. So the guy with the fish helmet is the same on both. He doesn't look as if he's armed any differently.
Yeah. So he looks the same, doesn't he?
I can't see the sculpted standard that they did for the Island of Blood set. Can you see him on there?
No, it's not. It's not on that picture. I'd have to look at the video, I think.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then going back, so Lothern Seaguard, and then Swordmasters of Hoth, and then moving along, we've got our White Lions.
Yep.
The standard returning kit, and then we've got the
Shadow
Sisters of
Warriors
Avalon.
And Sisters of Avalon.
Which you can build as Shadow Warriors. Now, Sisters of Avalon, from what I'm being told at the minute, are an exceptional core choice if you take Handmaiden of the Everqueen as your general, because they're absolutely superb as a core choice on the tabletop, but who knows. And then moving on, Spearmen. So this is what you're going to get in the battalion box, your high elf Spearmen. Then we've got your high elf archers.
Same returning kit from basically 6th edition.
Yeah, and then moving down, we've got the Lothern Skycutter.
So much.
Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower is coming back as well. Probably a twin pack, I would imagine.
I would think so. The same way they've been doing with a lot of the War Machine sets.
And then like Tyrannok Chariot.
There's a box or two.
Which you can build as your Lion Chariots as well. And then Metal Kit's coming back. The only two that they've, the three actually. The only three that they've announced so far is Handmaiden of the Everqueen, Corhill Lion Mane, and then Metal Kits coming later are the Great Eagles as well, which they haven't shown here, but they do say that they're coming.
Now, the Handmaiden of the Everqueen is an interesting one because she was originally Finecast. She's never been metal. And of course, in Finecast, she had all sorts of problems. The hair was bobbly, there was air pockets in her, and the spear wobbled all over the place. So it's going to be interesting to see how the detail comes across now that she's going to be metal.
See, I didn't know that because I never had this. But I mean, that spear, I would prefer that in metal, to be honest, over Finecast already.
Definitely.
Anyway.
No, definitely. Well, they did two sets. They did the Handmaiden of the Everqueen, and then they did the Everqueen model that they released during 8th edition in plastic that had the world's worst face up until the Bretonian Duke on Foot model got released.
But yeah, I mean, so that is everything for the high elves anyway. But there'll be, one would assume, a made to order announcement afterwards as well, like they've done for all.
What they're going to do on made to order now? I mean,
well, they'll probably bring back some older kits, won't they? Some of the nobles,
maybe like Altharion on the Griffin, because that was one of the things that didn't feature there. Was the Island of Blood Prince on Griffin didn't feature?
Prince on Griffin that could come back as a plastic kit if they separate it out, because I think that was on a shared sprue.
But equally, would they do perhaps something like the classic Altharion the Grim on Griffin model as a made to order or something?
Possibly. They could do an old high elf on Dragon as well.
That would be very... Oh, gosh. If they did Imbric, the Imbric model on Dragon,
Prince
that
Imbric.
was such a cool model.
Yeah, so you could get the old Dragon. We could get some of the nobles.
I mean, I'm surprised Tyrion and Teclis aren't in there, because they
just
are alive and well in this era.
Tyrion and Teclis are alive, so there's no reason why they couldn't do that. There's plenty of options for metal kits, but it's like, how far do you go?
And perhaps are Tyrion and Teclis in the Arcane Journal? We don't know it yet. Are they going to reveal that later?
I mean, there is that as well. And then I'm just going to get the tab ready.
There's more!
We have got one more thing to talk about for the old world. And it will segue nicely into the next section after that as well. Luke's not here, so we can go as long as we want. It's fine.
Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So on the back of the high elves stuff for the old world, they also showed us a little glimpse to the next faction that's coming. So Beastmen Brayherds are coming next, and we got a single
Crowmore, Prophet of Ruin.
Prophet of Ruin, yeah. So this is a Beastman Shaman. Go on, Ben. I'll let you take over this one.
So this is interesting from a number of levels. Firstly, it's a lovely Beastman Shaman model. He's got he's blinded from birth, so he's got kind of wrappings around his eyes.
I cannot see, man.
The sculpt looks to me like one of the really kind of nice, beefy, classic kind of 4th or 5th edition Beastman. I looked at it and it made me think immediately of like the Gorthor the Beastman model sculpt that they did back then. They have a very long, snouted Beastman with a huge kind of branching horns off the back of his head. He comes with, as interestingly, again, like they've done with a lot of the wizard models for the Empire, he comes with a little familiar. It's like a little homunculus with a beast head perched on a tree stump that comes with him. I'm assuming that's some kind of chaos familiar. But the lore for this guy is that the essentially the kind of messiah of the Beastmen, Morgor, the Everspawned, constantly kind of mutating and twisting Beastman character that they invented back in 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy, was slain about 20 years before the current time period is set. But part of Morgor's shtick is that he is constantly respawned. Like wherever the Beastmen presence congregates most will kind of eventually lead, if he's not, already loose in the world, to then being respawned. And Crownmore, the Prophet of Ruin, has sensed the rebirth of Morgor somewhere in the old world, and essentially is traveling around the old world trying to find the infant, Beast's Messiah, so that he can join him and lead him and kind of help him become the best version of himself that he can. It's a really cool piece of lore.
It is, and shortly we've got a community question we're going to tackle related to that as well, which will be interesting. But so not only did we sort of get a glimpse at Beastmen Greyhaird's coming with this character, which, like you said, Ben, it's that hunched, really chunky looking, old school Beastman style model. I love his hand as well. There's always sort of scrying these strands of fate. But scrolling down, we did get a piece of artwork, and we got a little bit of a tease, much like we did with 40k. We got a bit of a roadmap tease, and you can see the stuff that's released. You see the stuff that's revealed. So for anyone who's listening on Spotify, released, we obviously got Kingdom of Bretonnia and the Tomb Kings, which were at launch, Orcs and Gobbos, the Dwarves, Warriors of Chaos, and Empire of Man. And then revealed High Elf Realms, more to come, Beastmen Greyhairds, and the Wood Elf Realms. Now it says at the top of this picture, Warhammer, the Old World, core factions. That is your key takeaway. Because there's another box at the bottom with a silhouette indicating we're going to get a 10th core faction. And it did not take the Internet Detective long to figure out that the artwork in that box was from Cathay.
It's Grand Cathay!
Yeah, they did a piece of artwork for Cathay for not only Total War Warhammer 3, they did Cathay artwork for the Old World as well. You can find it on the Warhammer community website. Just search Cathay.
About 4 years ago. You will
see it. That is a piece of art from a Cathay, top left-hand picture. I've done a video on it that breaks down the picture as well and zooms in and all that jazz. So you can have a look at that if you want another look at the picture. But it would indicate that Grand Cathay is coming to Warhammer the Old World. And just imagine the possibility.
Potentially coming this year as well.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine the possibilities we could get in a Grand Cathay army, because it's another human army, but it's different.
Completely different.
If we take Total War as a sort of a baseline to go off, peasant spearmen, peasant archers, Jade Guards, Jade Knights, terracotta sentinels. I mean, there's artwork, isn't there, with the troops across the battlefield and a big, tall terracotta sentinel, kind of like the big thing on the Thor movie. The big walking thing,
the destroyer thing.
Yeah, I mean, you could have dragons, like you said.
Well, that's the whole point. The Empire at this point of Cathay is ruled by a family of noble dragons.
Yeah.
It is a human kingdom, but it's ruled by dragons.
Yeah. I mean, they wanted to do Cathay and they wanted to do Kislev. Kislev has been shelved for various different reasons, which we probably wouldn't go into at the moment. But they did some of the groundwork on that, and they've done work for Cathay. They've done the artwork. But there's something else as well, isn't there, Ben, related to a map?
They updated the interactive maps today. So if anyone who's been to the Warhammer the Old World website that links off from the GW site, there's a cool interactive map on there where you can kind of click around and scroll around, and they have all kinds of cool bits of shields and little tidbits where you can kind of click on little symbols and buildings and stuff, and occasionally pop-up boxes will come up and tell you things. And they updated it today, which is really cool. They added some extra kind of gubbins on there, like they added some heraldry to Tylea and Estalia, which is interesting. Perhaps hints that in the future maybe we'll get some armies that haven't previously seen models since I think the last time we got Tylean models was 5th edition. Yeah. But off the coast of the Empire, the Sea of Claws, I mentioned this earlier today, where previously there had been a sea monster, there is now a mysterious vessel with raked back red sails with a sinuous white dragon symbol on the sail, which is extraordinarily like a Chinese junk.
Yeah, it's unmistakable, isn't it?
And I think about it, it makes a lot of sense because, I mean, it would be difficult to argue for a Cathayan army to have marched all the way across the Silk Road, all the way across kind of the wastelands and through the mountains of Morn to arrive at the old world and kind of participate in the narrative here. But it's certainly not beyond the realms of possibility for them to have come by sea. I mean, in terms of 100 plus years prior to this, Finnebear the Seafarer opened up trade with Grand Cathay. And it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Cathay may have decided to come back the opposite direction and explore this side of the globe.
I'm glad you mentioned that. The elves had been trading and had sailed as far as Cathay and beyond to Nippon. So
2163, I think, is when Finnebar's Seafarer opened up trade with Cathay again. And so they've had over 100 years of the kind of elves of Ulthuan trading with them. Why wouldn't they come back the other way to see what's over here? Cathay Expeditionary Force landing off the coast of the Old World, tackling chaos from behind the lines. Who can tell? It's going to be awesome.
Damn you, Games Workshop! You certainly know how to build the hype.
I'm going to be so utterly I'll be vibrating with excitement when the stuff starts leaking for Cathay.
I mean, you can live with one kidney, right?
Yes, it's fine. I mean, I've got I don't need both eyes.
I like beans on toast. I can live on beans on toast for a while. It's fine.
But yeah, we should keep. You mentioned there's a Warhammer. There's a community question about
the
Old World as well.
Moving quite nicely from the Beastman thing. So that was our last reveal for LVO. So as you can probably agree, it was an absolutely epic reveal show. Tons and tons to go off. I mean, we've got Adepticon coming up in a couple of months as well. The whole place is just going to explode. But yeah, moving on, we're going to do a couple of community questions. So Jack Lyons 2088 on YouTube asked both myself and Ben on our separate videos that we've done regarding all these reveals, with the sort of tease of Kralmor the Prophet and his search for Morgor and stuff like that. Could it mean we might see some renowned characters from the Wood Elves in the Armies of Infamy? So in the Wood Elf Arcane Journal, what he's asked is, do you think we might see a new Ariel or Scarlock return as one of the Armies of Infamy? I think he might be on something with Scarlock. There's maybe like an ambush style, infiltration heavy style scout force.
Well, and Scarlock was actually the character who, in the lore, killed Morgor.
I was going to say he's one of them that's slain him, isn't he?
Literally, the last time Morgor walked the Old World, he was slain by Scarlock at the instruction of Ariel.
Yeah, so as I said,
20 years later,
my Wood Elf knowledge is limited, so I said yes, perhaps Scarlock is a good shout, but as far as Ariel goes, I'm not fully up to speed on that, so I'm going to let you take this question.
Yeah, so again, the Wood Elves are ruled by the twin elven kind of demigods, essentially Ariel and Orion. Orion kind of tying into.
Well, Orion is still a possibility as well.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Orion kind of ties into Kurnos, and Ariel kind of ties into Isha and that kind of side of the elven gods. Scarlock is Ariel's champion at this point, so he's kind of almost like her chosen knight. Albeit in this case, he takes the form of this kind of treetop elf who can control the birds, and the great classic model that they had. The last model Scarlock had, he stuck his arm out and had an eagle launching from his fist, which he had as a projectile weapon he could use, which was really cool. There was a new Orion model that was done back when Wood Elves got a glow up at the end of 6th edition, beginning of 7th edition, and it's still, I think, probably one of the nicest models Games Workshop produced from that era. It stands the test of time if you look at it kind of compared to pictures of even some of the newer Age of Sigmar models. It was this beautifully detailed kind of god of the forest look with huge branching antlers and a cloak made of leaves, and he was kind of blowing into a war horn whilst kind of 2 hunting dogs tracked at his heels. I absolutely think Games Workshop would be nuts not to re-release him, so I think he absolutely ought to be in the Arcane Journal. Scarlock, given his present lore, would be an obvious choice. Ariel was a playable character throughout kind of 4th and 5th edition. She hasn't had a model since then, and her model back then was really cool, actually. I mean, she was very big and kind of almost like a giant for an elf with massive kind of butterfly wings, and she was like a favorite. I was going
to say she had I was going to say moth wings, but yeah, butterfly wings is probably a more.
Yeah, she got painted by any number of Golden Demon entries over the years. At that point in time, she was very much kind of a favorite for painters, but she never got the glow up that the Orion.
I'm trying to remember. Is she carrying a chalice or something like that?
No, she's brandishing a staff that's kind of a living piece of a tree. There's a beautiful piece of artwork that Mark Gibbons did that I think, again, it'd be one of those things of, if they really, really, really wanted to make a lot of money, just sculpt the Mark Gibbons artwork.
Yeah, just
where she's
they should make everything that Mark's drawn, to be fair.
Yes, just commission him to draw more stuff. And then
I'm still waiting for someone at Games Workshop to say, let's do Kargos Bloodspitter. I want that miniature, that piece of art where he's with the power fist. What an epic marine. Chaos Marine.
Yeah, I think an aerial model would be an excellent choice for them to do, and I think to kind of give the Wood Elves their proper place in the old world at this point. Give them their two kind of demigod kind of characters, and give them Scarlock as well. And maybe if you're feeling up to it, give them an up to date Durthu model.
Well, you just you stole my thunder there. I was going to say,
sorry,
forgive my ignorance, but if they wanted to do a Treeman heavy style army of infamy, Durthu was also one of the other Wood Elf characters that slain Morgor as well.
That's true. And Dryker didn't slay Morgor, but it was obviously a very popular model, which has recently left the Age of Sigmar range.
Oh, interesting.
The classic Dryker model, again, was released at the end of 6th, beginning of 7th. Obviously, she's been replaced by the big, chunkier, kind of exosuit Dryker now, riding around in her tree man romper suit. But yeah, the fairly stylish kind of classic one where she's emerging out of the side of the tree, half of her body all kind of bark, half all kind of willowy heartwood. That model is no longer available as part of the Age of Sigmar range.
That's interesting. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting what we could see for the Arcane Journal. So Jack, I hope that helps. I know we've mentioned it in the YouTube comments as well, but I mean, feel free to jump on our Discord and we'll hammer it out further on Discord, because it's fun to guess about this stuff. Speculation is all part of the fun. We have got one more community question. We'll keep this one simple because Luke's not here, so we don't want him to miss out on some of the fun questions. So Esbarn82 has asked us on the Morehammer Discord, where are we at with our Little League Blood Bowl teams? Well, as befitting a Little League, there's been little progress. Yeah. So, I mean, all mine are built. All my noms have been undercoated, and I've put a little bit of colour on one of them to test the colour scheme. And then Star Wars Shatterpoint shiny stuff came out. Snow Troopers, General Veers, my gallbladder blew up, and various other things. So, yeah, I've not made much progress on my noms. But one of my New Year's resolutions was to play more Blood Bowl, which I want to give me some more impetus to get those gnomes finished. And I need to practice with them as well. Because the Whimsical Waffles will be victorious.
No, the Poppity Pink Dragons are going to take you on.
What a great name.
I am in much the same boat. All of mine are built. I've got all the models for my team now. They're all built. They're all spray undercoated. And I think a couple of them are actually finished. Some of the others are at least kind of got base colours on. But then, yeah, I got horribly distracted by.
Yeah, I need to decide what star player I want as well. I mean, I've got the Treeman, the Gnome Treeman. Oh, that's painted actually.
Oh, okay.
I think I want, well, nearly painted anyway. I've got some finishing bits to do, but I think I want Rodney Roachbait though.
He is a very cool model.
But if I've got enough gold, I could drop between the two, maybe. I don't know.
I've got the Sheep Rider dude as my special character, which seems eminently appropriate.
Oh,
Rumbelow Sheepskin.
Rumbelow Sheepskin, yeah. I did wonder if you was going to buy. What's she called riding the deer now? I forget the name. It's gone.
Oh, the one, the gnome one.
Yeah.
She can. I mean, she can obviously take part in a halfling one, and she has a lovely, lovely, lovely model. But
I forgot the name's gone completely out of my head.
No idea.
Anyway,
taking a gnome against in a halfling team. If the whole point of this is to do, supporting the little teams, it doesn't seem like it feel right. And actually, there are so many other nice halfling characters as well. There's Sydney.
Yeah, I mean, you got Puggy Bacon Breath.
Yeah. But I go with Rumbelow Sheepskin, and because he came with my tree man, Acorn the Squirrel.
Oh yeah, cracking star player.
Yeah, well, I think since I've got to have something to take on your foxes and geese and ducks and whatever.
Murder geese.
Yeah, murder geese versus coordinate squirrel.
It's the battle of the Riverside Meadow.
Animal of Farthing's Wood meets Rambo.
Yeah, Watership Touchdown. But yeah.
That was a good pun. That was a damn.
That's the name of the league, Watership Touchdown. That can be
yes.
Yeah, so that's our community questions for now. I don't
think we can top that. I think mic drop. Si just took the prize with that one.
Well, he's not here. We can get away with murder, can't we? But yeah, no, we've had a long one tonight. There were lots to discuss. Thank you for sticking with us. I hope you all are as excited as we are about some of the stuff that's coming. Let us know in the comments, what are you interested in? What was your takeaway from the reveal that was your favourite? Emperor's Children, Soul Black Grave Lords, or High Elves or whatever. Do let us know, because we like reading the comments. And also, please come and join us on our Discord and come and have a chat and
Come
come
and
and
join the
laugh at some of the
conversation.
stuff we do to Luke and torment him. We've got a channel on the Discord called Luke's Wall. So if we want him to put anything embarrassing on the wall, we can do that. Meme Hammer, we've got a few. It's not a meme silly Discord, so
No, we're just a bunch of gamers having a chuckle.
Yeah, it's just Nerdvana. So yeah, come and join, come and have some fun. Before we go, I'll just say, don't forget, you can find us on Spotify as well as on YouTube as well. And then, as usual, Ben, where can we find you on your stuff? What have you been up to?
You can come and find me over on my channel, 90% Geek, spelled exactly the way it's appearing beneath my name on screen at the moment. You can find me over on Blue Sky the same as well. So obviously this last week I've been gibbering excitedly about all the old world stuff that's coming. And I really should. I keep saying, I'm going to do another video about this, I'm going to do another video about that. I'd love to do a video about all kind of the lore of Cathay, to try and dive into everything that we know about Grand Cathay thus far. But on the other hand, I've kind of gotten this into my head that I want to do a video about Necromunda because I haven't done one yet. And I love Necromunda, and I'm painting loads of Necromunda stuff at the moment. So turn up this Friday and see which one won out in my brain. Do I do a video about how great Necromunda is, or do I do a video about the lore of Cathay? Or do I finally get off the duff and start doing my analysis of the Empire Arcane Journal? Who knows? I don't even know yet.
Well, you need to get that one done so then I can watch your High Elf Arcane Journal review. So
yeah, well, I've got to decide. I mean, previously, obviously, things have been judged by important criteria such as their similarity to the 1999 film The Mummy, or, how grandiose are the beards involved, or how similar is it to the Conan the Barbarian novels.
How ruffled are the sleeves? That could be one of the categories.
Yes. Ooh. How fancy pants are their pants?
And for that kind of thrilling content and more, do go and check out Ben's channel, because seriously though, it's awesome.
Si, what can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Hobby Waffle. That's my username on YouTube. So latest video that I've done was me getting excited about the High Elves, disguised as me talking about what's coming for the High Elves. But really, I was just getting excited and musing about all the things I'm going to buy. And then also talking about what we might see going forward as well. So yeah, that's my latest video. And then I'll be doing the first of my Dread Fleet, Beat the Fleet video painting series.
I'm looking forward to that.
And then I've got some other ideas as well, but my brain is swimming with ideas that I want to do, but I'm trying to work out how I can do it. But anyway, you can find me on there, and also on Instagram and Blue Sky, same username, at Hobby Waffle, and then on Discord as well. So yeah, as I said before, do make sure you come and join us and join in the fun. But I think that is everything we've covered so far. We've gone on for long enough. Big hello to Luke. Hopefully we'll see him back for the next podcast. But all that's left to say is thank you everyone for watching and listening. Have a great week and happy wargaming.
Bye, guys.